Hello, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. And Jeremy, all the waiting. It culminated Sunday night at 9 o'clock for all of us in our time zone. Last of Us, episode 1 of season 2. Where would we find Joel and Ellie after the events of the first season? We're finally getting some answers, but a lot of setup in this first episode. But still, it's really interesting to see where this world is at now. Here to break down episode 1 of this show with me is my header life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Yeah, I'm excited. We're in it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Also, I apologize in advance. I don't know who in the hell in their right mind is mowing their lawn right now at 7:20 in the fucking evening. It's not like it's summer. It's not
yet.
It was stupid cold outside, and it was stupid windy, so I don't know what difference that makes and why there's no light left outside. So you do you, and I'm sorry if anyone has to hear a lot more in the background. So that's what's going on.
Makes me think of Randy Quaid's character in an old movie called Moving, Richard Pryor movie from the late 80s.
Oh, okay.
He has like 2 square feet.
I've not seen it.
He has like 2 square feet. I mean, just those scenes where he's interacting with a loner are kind of worth watching it. But there's Richard Pryor's neighbor is played by Randy Quaid, and he has 3 square feet of lawn, but he has this gigantic lawn tractor that he drives out once a week and tortures Richard Pryor's character with. That's actually quite funny. If you ever get a chance to watch the movie, that's one of the things that makes it laughable. But yes, we are here to talk about season 2, episode 1 of Last of Us, and again, kind of a different structure to the reviews since we're not doing movies. We're doing on just one episode, but I mean, let's get right into it. It starts, Jeremy, with this fantastic scene. It introduces you and lets you know very quickly who Abby is and what her intentions are in the show. I thought this was a fantastic scene. I think it was a great first couple of minutes before they actually started rolling the opening credits. It really establishes how significant Abby is going to be throughout the I guess really probably the rest of the series. I mean, because if you know, she she is important and she's going to affect the rest of the series. But give me your thoughts, Jeremy, real quick on the opening scene and how we get to start this season on Abby.
That's one hell of a thing to start on. They after I think most people, if you watch the recap for season 1, and then it starts you off again with that conversation, that all-important conversation that Ellie and Joel have, where she asks him, like, hey, swear to me what you said was true. And, he just looks at her and says, yeah, I swear. And again, she doesn't really believe him, but just kind of says, okay, and just walks off. And then you cut right to that, and you see the aftermath of, assuming, judging by the guy's dialogue 3 days prior, after Joel does his little rampage in the hospital, it's them, the rest of the Fireflies there, burying everyone who was killed. And yeah, I did just watch a thing maybe 10 minutes before I got on here that I didn't really think about it, because I was, even if I was still enthralled with that scene, because like you said, that lays that groundwork and that motivation for Abby's character right out of the gate. And I think she fucking nailed it on the head, man. Like, the point either way of how they play the game and when you watch the show is you're supposed to have some understanding as to like what Abby's going through. And the thing I read was that people who play the game, even though like we just talked right before we came on here, it's not exactly a spoiler. We know what Abby's motivation is and what she's eventually going to do. And everyone's like, oh, you ruined the big twist because you just flat out said it in the beginning. I'm like, yes, in the game it's different. You don't know who she is. You just play as this character. You're like, wait, who is this? Who am I playing as? Why am I doing this? Oh crap, there's clickers and infected at the fence and they're trying to kill me. I'm just trying to get through the snow. And she was with her friends at the lodge, which I think we'll see in the next episode. They, like I said, they find a lodge right outside of Jackson, where Ellie and Joel live. And you're not really sure who she is or what's going on. And then you see her run into, our main character. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's good. She found probably the best people you want to find in this situation. And then, she turns around and Negan's his ass into the ground. You're like, oh, okay. Okay, now we're doing that. Okay. And it unfolds. It's like, I don't think the show needed to do that. I think it handled it the right way. And speaking of Negan, that's what I said. I'm like, this is the thing of making a character like that. It's like, you're not really the bad guy in your story, right? to us, we followed Rick and company throughout this whole apocalypse. And then, yeah, admittedly, maybe you don't gun down some guy you're not really sure what he's about. And then he comes out swinging a baseball bat into your friend's skulls. And you're like, that's a bad guy. I'm like, yeah, but think about it. If we had followed Negan, you'd be like, who is this dickhead who just came through and just massacred a bunch of my guys? You'd understand Negan's point. Like, that's the interesting duality, that it's like, it's from whoever's point of view. This is still that conversation we had of who's right or who's wrong. And there really isn't a right or wrong answer to that. So, it just sucks to see. I'm like, I know, like, we're on the side of Ellie and Joel, of course. So, but it's like, you can at least understand what Abby's going through. And I'm glad you picked that as your line. I'm like, yeah, that, and her significant other, to ruin that for everybody, sorry, Owen, just, pats her hands, is like, look, we'll help you. And they name drop something that's going to be important later. It's like when they go to Seattle, and the group they find led by Isaac, they're like, what do we do? We can't, there's no more Fireflies left. This is it. And they're like, well, let's go to Washington. There's some group up there. And he just reassures her, like, yeah, we'll find them. We'll help you, and we'll help you kill them. And she just puts that Firefly tag on the grave and just goes, slowly, we're going to kill him slowly. I'm like, damn. Better be a slow golf swing. I mean, not exactly the best way to go out, but I'm like, no, I think you blunt force somebody 2 or 3 times. That's kind of the end of the line. But
yeah. Right as you mentioned it, Derpy Entertainment says maybe Rory McIlroy can give Pedro Pascal some golf lessons. Well, Pedro Pascal is not going to be the one swinging the 9-iron. You know what I mean? But well, that'll come up at some point this season, I'm sure.
He's going to get Happy Gilmore here in a second. So
we're going to discuss that moment when that moment comes. But I love the way they introduced Abby in this episode. I love the fact that they kind of bookended the episode with her. At the burying all the people that Joel dispatched to try to get Ellie out at the end of the last season, and then of course her in the snow with her companion, her guy friend, walking up on the dam in the distance where Jackson has had getting their power from. It's interesting. They didn't make her a big part of this episode, but they made it very clear in the first few minutes that she is the absolutely the one who is going to significantly alter the DNA of this story.
She's the storm that's coming, I'm telling you.
And it gives you a chance to kind of absorb that character for a minute, because like I said, I like that I got this picture, because that look in her eyes, man, it was so. Oh man! Because if you look, and this is absolutely fantastic of Caitlin Deaver, is that her name?
I think it's Caitlin something. Yeah,
it's absolutely a great job by her to display this brokenness and this rage all in her eyes at the same time.
Yeah, she's tearing up, but still but she's like holding back. Like, I'd stab the next guy that looks at me in the eye wrong. Like, man.
But
she says that line, like, yeah, she's like, no, this isn't fair, and she's like, no, none of this is fucking fair. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So. Yeah,
it also, like what I saw in that scene, just the number of people kind of made me question some things at the end of the episode as well. But we'll get to that here in a second. But I mean, yeah, you're right. There's this one overarching theme that I've been hearing people talk about the last 48 hours or so since we got a chance to watch this, is that this is a reminder that even though Joel's the good guy to us, that he saved Ellie and made it kept her safe. That we're the good guy in our story, but we're the bad guy in somebody else's.
That's what I'm saying,
we have clearly come across one of those things where the person in which Joe is the bad guy is coming to wreak havoc now, and she may look kind of sweet and pretty, but she's gonna do what she does. We all know it's coming. But it was a great way to introduce her. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Now, Jesus Christ, can we talk about Catherine O'Hara for just a minute? I mean,
talk about Catherine O'Hara as long as you want.
I mean, there were people I had heard in the last couple of days that were like, she needs to win an Emmy for best guest role for this performance alone, for this episode
role or something. Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen her do some cool stuff. Obviously the Home Alone and stuff like that, but I've seen her do a lot of different things, and she is just absolutely fantastic in this moment. It's rare that I see someone carry a scene like this. Now, granted, Catherine O'Hara, she's kind of a Hall of Famer. She's been around the block a few times. Yeah. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to work. She knows how to do the job. But I mean, this was just a masterclass in what to do in that moment. And by the time that whole monologue of hers was over, I was kind of like, wait a minute, she said some things that are stuck in my head, but I'm like, she's so good. It's like there was some surprises that she says in there, and I was like, Jesus, I paused it for a minute, and I was like, wow, that was good. That was just good. What did you think of that scene with her and that back and forth between her and Joel? What did you think of that scene?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. What more could we say about Catherine O'Hara? Obviously, I think it's an interesting duality that it's like you said, it's all about that delivery. She delivers that whole monologue to Joel, and just basically like, hey, get your feelings out there, just say it, just say the thing, and that's as she said, that's the first step to trying to make amends. You might feel better if you just say it. And she's trying to tell him, like, look, man, she might be faded, might be double faded at this point. Who cares? But she's like, just trust me, right? Like, that's what we're here for. Because otherwise, like, what are we doing? Like, you're here to tell me, like, what's going on. And the cool duality is that, like, she drops that line that she's like, well, this is the first time in 41 years since I've had a birthday without my husband. And I was like, oh, this happened recently. And she says to Joel, it's like, yeah, you killed him. And she's saying, like, well, and I understand you didn't have a choice, but it was the way you did it. She's like, and now that I had to sit here and look at you in our own house, and it makes me so fucking mad. But she's like, but I'm trying to forgive you. I'm like, yeah. See, I'm like, that's that parallel thing with, like, with Abby. It's like Abby's taking this a different way. She's taking a more physical approach to it, where she's like, I'm just going single-mindedly. She's trying to just go take out Joel because she thinks it's going to take out the problem and it's going to make it all better, which, it's not. But Catherine O'Hara is like trying to say, like, look, no, I'm trying, now that I've said that, and I'm trying to make myself forgive you and, like, move past it. Maybe we can help get through it. I'm like, yeah, that's that duality. And maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's an age thing. She's, like you said, her, and I'm sure her character, been around the block a lot longer and dealt with more shit. Abby's also, like, just a kid, like, probably a teenager, and growing up in this world is probably a little different than, obviously Catherine O'Hara had probably lived in the previous world before. So rule set's a little different. So she knows to be like, look, I can't just attack it with an iron fist or, a 9 iron, as it were, in Abby's case. So, yeah. I thought that was kind of a cool, like, that's something I caught, that was a duality of, like, they both hate Joel for killing somebody they love, but it's like, she's like, I'm trying to make this right and not do something rash because, that doesn't solve anything. Whereas Abby is, again, just taking her merry band of misfits and we're going to go vacation in Jackson. So.
Yeah, I actually watched, I actually watched this episode again yesterday because I was just so kind of taken aback by Catherine O'Hara's performance, just being back in the world, that I wanted to make sure I didn't really miss any little bits of dialogue, especially. One of the things I did catch,
because you're sitting there watching like this, like,
yeah, I mean,
like you just,
yeah, I mean, it's hitting
everything
in the face, and you can't really absorb a lot of the dialogue. That's one of the reasons I want to go back and watch it again. But there were some things that, after you cut through the brilliant performances by her in that moment, actually, I do think there was a little bit of comedy on Joel's end as well, where he's just like, should I get back another time? He's like, I don't think you're ready for this. I'm just going to go ahead and get back later. And tries to leave. And she's like, nah, sit down, dude. You're going to hear me out. But I was really keyed on what she said about her husband. Joel killed her husband a year ago. And it doesn't really, it is not yet explained why. We're going to get that explanation because Joey Pantoliano is going to play Eugene, her husband, in what I assume is going to be some kind of a flashback episode. But said it's this is the first time I celebrated a birthday with my husband. So it's like in the last year, Joel had to kill her husband, but this is 5 years after the events of the first season. So I'm like, so obviously we have not yet seen what happened that led to this incident. But I mean, but she does mention how he killed him. I'm like, well, to me, it's more about why. I mean, was he sneaking, young babies out to cordyceps zombies in the forest to let them eat or something? Or did he do something to damage the integrity of Jackson? I mean, was he about to turn? Did he have bit and was about to turn and they wanted to put him out of his misery? Those are the questions that I have, but I I get from her reaction that at least she doesn't feel that it was just. You know what I mean? Because I mean, obviously, there's a lot more that needs to be explained. We're going to get the full explanation whenever we see Joey Pantoliano show up on screen as Eugene. But I mean, that was one of the pieces of dialogue that really stood out to me as like, what that's going to mean something down the line. But you know, moving on, one of the things that happened in this episode, and I don't have a good picture of any of it because you know, I couldn't quite get a whole lot of pictures from this episode. But you know, running into that new infected, the stalker, as it's been called. Yeah, we had talked about this a little bit on Saturday as we were going over some of the different, you know, kinds of infected. That whole scene, some decent dialogue, a few dialogue connections to the original game, like, you know, the other girl that's on the thing with the captain. Ellie apparently had a thing with in the past, not important apparently to the story, but there is a little bit of exposition, obviously a lot of growth in the relationship between Dina and Ellie. What do you think of of this kind of sequence at the grocery store and running into this new kind of infected person that we're going to have to deal with this year?
Well, yeah, because the more important person is right there to the right of Ellie. We don't, Kat who, we don't know her. Not important. That's one hell of a way to lead into that moment, is like right there where they find the trail of blood in the snow, and a rather big trail of blood too. And it still looked kind of wet. So you're like, oh, that's not good. That's a lot of blood that was kind of recently spilled, which leads them to this bear that's been taken down and basically kind of just half munched on, with some infected body parts strewn around, because I'm sure the bear put up a fight, but obviously it in the end did not win out. So we see, you know, obviously the clicker, like there's a clicker I think on the ground and a couple just arms and limbs of dead ones, and the bear. But I think maybe that's one of the first, the first time we see Ellie and Dina really interact with one another, right? Because like we got to see a little bit of Dina when she was talking to Joel when he was trying to fix the circuit breakers in the house, which was a great way to introduce her. Like I love her. I love her character, and I love the way this girl's playing her. Dina's fantastic. And I'm like, I think she's spot on. And again, she's a great companion to Ellie. Because like I said, now the scene of the two of them going into the grocery is, again, it's a nice, again, laying groundwork of the two of them. Because she made up a stupid pun like on the spot and made Ellie laugh. And I'm like, Ellie, you like stupid puns. Come on. She's got the jokes.
Yeah, there's the whole throwback to that book from last season.
Yeah, I was like, come on, you like stupid jokes. That's why she actually like, wait, did you make that up? Like, you didn't read that out of a book or anywhere? Like, she's like, no, I made that up. I'm like, come on, she's the whole package right there. So yeah, and because they do give some background of you know, that it's like, this is not the first time that they've probably gone out and like killed infected. So you get that the way they handle stuff, which I don't know why there was like. There's a scene from an old cartoon, like when they were standing there like doing the hand gestures, even doing the goofy shit where Ellie's like, cut the throat, blood. Yes, we get it. Like, good talk, guys. Like, yeah, doing whatever baseball like Naruto fucking jitsus to each other, and I'm like, it reminds me of a cartoon like where there was a character who did that. It's like a whole long thing, and his friend walks by and he goes, "Oh yeah, like that really meant something." Like whatever you just said meant something, I guess. Yeah, that was kind of cool. And we see a pretty big game mechanic of you know, when she picked up the bottle and chucked it down the hallway to distract the clicker, which is that's a pretty common one. Like if you're trying to get away from, always have a bottle, or you have like a brick that you just throw and distract them to either run, or like Ellie did, which, I mean, if you're immune, you kind of you can have the guts to go up to it and just stab it in the neck. Which is another thing you can do. Just throw it and stab it, take it out. But then, yeah, now, of course, we get a new one, which it kind of gave me Zombieland vibes, where I'm like, yeah, we have or Zombieland, but also Walking Dead, where the zombies kind of get smart. Like, they've kind of evolved in some weird way to, it's like this one was kind of stalking her. just moving kind of silently and just trailing her a little bit. Then like when I love that when she comes face to face with it, she's like, "Go ahead, run at me, go!" Like it takes off the other way, which to her is like, what the hell? Like what? And this thing like outsmarted her by kind of luring her into that middle part and then trying to kill her. Which technically, I'm like, I don't think the joke's on the infected because I mean it did bite her, but obviously she can't get infected. Like you can still die. I'm like that thing could have still ripped you apart, and thankfully it didn't. I'm like, Ellie, you're not immune to dying. Like that's still a thing that can happen. But yeah, you're not going to get turned. And I would say if we can talk about the effects, I'm like that thing looked really cool. I love the way she crawled, the way she had like the little branches like poking out of her head, out of her skull, and her face was all scratched up.
Look, well, her face. Obviously, that bear had landed a shot on her because that's what it looked like. Is bear claw marked right across her face.
Yeah, and then just like that's the stuff like because that's how that's kind of a midline between like her probably becoming a clicker because that stuff just kind of bursts out of your skull and it overtakes and overgrows into what we see a clicker. So it was cool just to see the little strands of it kind of popping out of her skull, almost like some antlers. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, I thought that was cool as shit. It was kind of interesting, not just what happened in that particular scene, running into this new kind of clicker, but like this little inquisition that they faced from the Jackson City Council after all this. There was an obvious look of concern on Tommy's face when he got done having this conversation. Mm-hmm. Even going back to early in the episode where him and Elliot were out doing some shooting of a couple of random infected.
Oh yeah.
They even make a small reference to like, oh, there's a couple of them out there today. It's not just like one. We've seen a few, and he goes, yeah, there's been a few, and that's the first acknowledgement that there is something coming in that direction. But
they will start bunching up into hordes, guys.
They will. They will.
Trust me.
But so the whole sequence surrounding that scene was fairly interesting to me. Again, mostly to introduce the new infected, which is obviously going to play a significant part later in the season. But also because of now people are starting to become aware that there's some kind of evolution of this situation, whether it's of the clickers or not, the infected or not. This situation is turning into something new that's going to cause you a lot of strife. But now I want to talk about maybe one of the most famous scenes in the history of this game is this scene at the dance, the conversation between Ellie and why am I trying to blank her name? Dina, yeah. I almost called her Dahlia for a minute. I don't know why I almost said that. But no. But yeah, I've heard that this was actually very, very close, like almost spot on to the game. But even if it wasn't, this was a pretty important scene for the evolution of both these characters, most certainly Ellie. Give me your thoughts on this scene and how well it was done.
Yeah, I did. I think yesterday, because it's going to keep happening. It happened when the first season came out. Something that, again, we've said Craig Mazin doesn't miss, and they've taken great care to making a lot of these important moments from the game translate onto the screen. And I've seen many, many comparisons from season 1 to the game, and again, it's spot on. This one does the same exact thing. I just saw one yesterday where it compared the same camera movements, like you should see the back of her head panning down, seeing her just watching the dance, just kind of stand there in the corner like a weirdo, like a little loner. And she does talk to Jesse, and they're both just watching Dina dance with this guy. I think the only thing that was really different is just it's not important. I think Ellie was holding the cup in the game or something, and Dina just walks over, just slugs it from her, drinks it, and hands it to Jesse and grabs her hand, and now we're going dancing, I think it was Jesse holding the cup in the show. I'm like, it's irrelevant. It's still kind of hilarious that she just jacks his drink and drinks it and just hands it back to him. I'm like, that's a little rude, Dina. Jesus.
Well, they were dating, so he's probably used to it. I
mean, off and on or whatever, whatever they're doing. Yeah, and then it's the same, the same dialogue too, and and that's where I got my line from, because I think that's one of my favorite lines from the game. It was used in the trailer too, and it was flashing between showing this really sweet moment between the two of them that they have, mixed with like flashes in the game later where like she's just murdering people left and right, and she tells her like, "Oh, Ellie, I think this should be terrified of you." I'm like, yeah, and it shows her like killing all these wolves later in the game. But that's it was I think just about shot for shot the same, even like down to the just about down to the wardrobe even. And I was gonna say that in that scene there with them on the horses, I think that's like almost exactly what Dina was wearing when they went out in the snow. The same beanie, the jacket. Yeah, and again, of course, what Ellie was wearing. I think that's where the game starts. I want to say. I'm trying to remember if it's where like Dina picks her up and they go out and patrol. So I think the next part might actually be what we might see next with Abby. But yeah, they've done a great job of making a lot of the important bits translate to the screen, and even down to the whole guy in the dance who's just like disgusted with them being close. And same thing, Joel comes in, just shoves this guy to the ground and says like, get the hell out of here right now. And it's still the same. Ellie yells at him like, I don't need your help, dude, like in front of everybody. And it just sucks because he's just you see him have to like kind of swallow that, like, right, like, I understand, sorry, like. And then of course you get that hilarious, like you see him walk out and you see Catherine O'Hara and then just comes in the frame like, oh my god. She's still having a rough day. It's probably on whatever drink number you don't need more.
Yeah, she's a bottle of whiskey and a bag of wet stems in her days.
Right. She's beyond double faded at this point. Oh my god.
Yeah, she's 3 or 4 sheets to the wind. But I love the scene. I thought it was beautifully shot. I thought it was beautifully written.
It's spot on.
Actors obviously did a great job. I really do. One of the things I like about the scene is the end after Joel comes in and takes over. After Joel comes in and kind of pushes Seth out of the way, and Ellie gets mad at him, and I'm like, I had forgotten for a minute that all due respect,
you want to be happy that he.
Well, I mean, all due respect all due respect to Bella Ramsey for doing very well with the character and acting so well in this role. It's that Ellie she's a bitch. I kind of forgot that she's kind of an asshole. I mean, she in the first season she's kind of a cute asshole. She says some funny things and whatever. But I mean, like this entire.
Well, but she's a 19-year-old girl.
I get it, and I understand. And like I said, and I said it Saturday. Being a 19-year-old girl in benign circumstances without being surrounded by a pandemic that has wiped out.
Just like Catherine O'Hara said to him, like,
is difficult. Yeah, true. One of the funny things about that is like, yeah, you've been here 5 times. I can't get along with my 19-year-old daughter. Every 19-year-old girl is fucking crazy. But but yeah, I didn't really understand. Now it hasn't explained why. Obviously, this entire episode.
I could tell you.
You might be able to tell me, but it's like
there's context.
Yeah, I understand it, and they can't give us that context right away. But no. But it's like, yeah, she's an absolute bitch to Joel. It's like it's one thing if you're having this moment where you're a person and their teenage child aren't getting along. I've got 4 kids that are all going to be legal adults here in about 4 months, so I've been there. Trust me.
Right.
But even that, for the most part, it's like my kids. Again, under very normal circumstances compared to what they're seeing in the game, would not do that. It's like I wonder if maybe there is a difference in. And again, I don't know about the game, but it's like I don't know if they're going to do this, down the line in the story.
I'm on the edge of my seat because I really want to tell you.
Is there some reason? I mean, I know there's probably a reason that we're going to get to, but it's like why after 5 years has this gotten so cold? I just don't get it. But you say there's context. I mean, I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
And I mean, and even back with the conversation with Catherine O'Hara, and she does, say like, well, she isn't actually your daughter. It's like that is another facet of this relationship between the two of them. That it's like they're not actually father and daughter. So it's like that does kind of put more of a strain on it too. That it's almost like you think like, oh, well, that kind of served its purpose. Like from the first game, it's like, well, you got her to where you needed to get her. Then you ended up just trying to save her life because you loved her so much and got her back to this community. And for 5 years, I mean, that you've lived there for 5 years now. This is what I said, like when people were complaining about, they just kind of already threw Abby's whole so-called twist out in the open already. I'm like, no, I think that's okay for the context of the show, but I'm like, I think they're saving this part because of the way the game's structured through flashbacks, you see what happened. Like we said, we have this time gap of 5 years. Like we don't really know what's happened. Like really between when they came back from the end of the first game to now. And like I said, I've mentioned it before. I'm like, you realize they're gonna have that conversation of what really happened, and they haven't. You'll slowly start revealing that, and they haven't told us. But I'm like, not because I can ruin the game. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen in the show. But if it happens that way, they do have that conversation, and rightfully so. She's gonna be supremely pissed at Joel. Because she felt like my life did mean something. I was immune. She's like, you don't know. You had no right to, make that decision for my life. So I'm like, yeah, that's a little rough. I can understand. So we haven't seen that like that's happened. We're in the now, like that has happened at some point, and she's still upset at him for it. So if you find out the truth about something like that, I mean, yeah, it's gonna piss you off a little bit.
Yeah, Tattooed Mama over on Twitter. What's up? So say hi to JB for me. I'll talk to you guys in a while. Yeah, she's over on Horny Goat with
Okay.
Connor and all them. But she says the one playing Abby should be the one playing Ellie. Well, we'll talk about that. I've got a little bit about that later on. But I mean, honestly, I like Bella Ramsey on the role. I was gonna say I think
love
she
her as Ellie.
I think she fits. I think she fits very, very well. And it's not that Caitlin Devers would have been bad at it, but I don't know. I kind of like Bella. Seeing the cute brunette like her being one of the mean girls is not really new, but Bella Ramsey, right. I think, has that more. I don't know. I think what Ellie is as a character comes off of her a little bit better. That's just kind of what I think.
She's got that cockiness. It's like, I mean, when she fell through the floor in the grocery store, it's like, and then Dina's like trying to figure out, okay, just stay there. I'm gonna try and see if I can find some stairs, some way to get down to you. And then she's like, yeah, gotcha. She's like, stay put, Ellie. She's like, yeah. She's like, Ellie, stay there. And like, you really, even Dina, you know how dumb that sounds coming out of your mouth. I'm like, you know who you just told to just stay in one spot. Yeah. She's not gonna fucking listen to that. She's not gonna do that, and we all know it. But that, it's her character and it comes off well. And I even kind of forget sometimes. And like I said earlier, when she attacked that clicker, I'm like, you realize she's kind of got a little bit of the cockiness, because I'm like, well, yeah, she can't get infected. I'm like, you would have a little less, you'd be a little more brazen, I'm sorry, to, go after these infected, because I'm like, yeah, you don't really have a danger of getting infected. But again, you can still die. But I think that's where part of it comes from, is that's why she is kind of the way she is sometimes. She's not as in fear of her life as anyone else would be.
Yeah, and of course, text coming in saying, noob question, but does being immune to the plague make you a martial arts expert? Because that 90-pound moon face took down a grown man with a triangle choke like she was Chuck Liddell. Well, I mean, she has been training for most of the last 5 years, so...
It's like, yes, obviously people have to train, because you're not only dealing with infected, you're dealing with other dickheads in this world.
Yeah, true.
Some that are bigger than you, some that are smaller than you. And like I said, we're not going to win this fucking argument, because like if they don't show that and they're like, yeah, but how the fuck is she like 100 pounds just taking out people? Shut up. Just let her fucking do her thing. It's like, it doesn't, like I said earlier, I've taught kids in martial arts. I'm like, smaller than me. I'm like, don't be afraid because you're the smaller guy. Trust me. You have your own strength of like, you're smaller. Some guy could be steamrolling you, but he's a big dude. He's the train. Get off the track. He's not going to shift as fast as you are. You pop one right in the back of his knee, it's over. You got to play to the strengths. Like I said, she's smaller. She can get around that guy. And she does have that rage. And it's not like that's anything fucking new that just developed in that first scene. She's like, she said, oh shit, I'm sorry, I got in the moment. And remember, dude clocked her right in the fucking nose. Like, she was looking like Rocky after like one round, like, sitting there, she's about to scream Adrian or Dina or something, and she's about to break. So it's like they put that in her to show that, oh yeah, no, she can hold her own, and that's the point. Like, even though she still took a hit, and it's like, yeah, she can go some rounds with a big dude.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of Elliot. She's kind of a younger, more jaded version of Sarah Connor. It's like she finds her inner Sarah Connor, the one who was doing chin-ups on the upturned bed in the psych ward at the beginning of Terminator 2. She turns into that by the time she's like 15 because of necessity, not because she really It's not shits and giggles. I mean, if you think about it,
Linda Hamilton was pretty jacked, but she was still a slim figured woman. But I'm like, yeah, she can toe to toe with a fucking Terminator.
All I would say is, when you've been training for a while, I mean, I know people that have been in stuff like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff since they were kids that are like 15, 16 years old. And I'm like, I don't want to throw a punch at this fucking 15 or 16-year-old because they would probably dodge it. And it's when you're trained, you're good. I would say, Tex, find you a nice featherweight boxer and get in the ring with them. I guarantee you get your ass kicked. Because those guys, they know what they're doing. They've practiced the craft. So
you can tell when someone knows what they're doing, and that is more terrifying than someone who doesn't. Like, I've watched videos where I'm like, I know who actually knows what they're doing because you can watch the way they fight. And I did do that. I did martial arts for quite a long time, from when I was a kid to when I was a teenager, all the way through high school. And I'm like, yeah, you know what you're doing, and it's kind of fun because when you're doing sparring against people that do know what they're doing, that makes it kind of interesting because, like, they know how to counter you as well. But like, it's a lot easier when you are trained, like I said, to someone who maybe necessarily isn't. One of my favorite scenes, real quick, in the movie, it's about MMA. He joins this gym and he's a football player, so he's obviously a stocky guy. He's got some muscle packed onto him, and he puts him. The instructor puts him in the ring with this guy who's probably half his size and literally just shorter, and he's a lightweight dude, and he's like putting his gloves on. He's like, really? He's like, I got like 20 pounds on this kid. And the instructor goes, yeah, well, then take it easy on him. And this kid is staring him right down in the face like, yeah, because it's about to happen. And he just ran circles around this kid. I'm like, yeah. It's like, don't think just because you are the bigger dude that you've got it in the bag. I'm like, because that little featherweight dude just kicked his ass, put him in a hold.
Yeah, but back to the scene, there's that little piece of dialogue, and you've got it in your quote beneath your name. Ellie, I think they should be terrified of you. And I kind of wondered, I was like, why should they be terrified of her? Because at first I just thought that maybe Ellie was like, they're staring. Oh, well, you're one of two gay women in this place, so you're probably gonna draw some eyes. But
I like her modesty. She's like,
yeah,
why? I'm not a threat. Like,
yeah, and that's where it gets interesting. She says that when she says that they should be terrified of you, and I was thinking to myself, why? I mean, she's been there for 5 years. She hasn't. I'm assuming she hasn't done anything other than a few scrapes with local law enforcement, a few fisticuffs, a couple of drunken nights. But I mean, as far as being a threat, I don't think anybody there would look at her as a threat unless somebody knows her little secret. And that left me wondering. I'm like, does Dina know? Has Tommy accidentally? Because I mean, who do we know that knows? Joel knows.
Joel knows. Tommy knows.
And
I would say Maria might know.
See, that's what I was thinking. Is I would imagine
Tommy's wife might know.
Maria. They're married. I would imagine he would have said something to her. I can't imagine Joel would have said anything. He obviously hasn't said anything yet to the therapist lady. I'm wondering.
Yeah, because
I'm wondering if Dina knows, and maybe she hasn't let on to anybody that she does.
Well, that's what I was saying. There is a scene like I said, when there's them trapped in a room full of spores and they got their masks on, and Ellie's mask breaks, which, Ellie knows, like, oh, that doesn't really matter. But Dina didn't know that. And like I said, she tried to take her mask off to save Ellie's life and put it on her. And Ellie's like, no, stop. Because she realized, oh, that's going to kill you if you do that. And then what? I'm having Riley flashbacks again, like all over. I don't need my significant other to die, like, again. So yeah, it's like she kept it secret from, I think, everybody except for Joel and Tommy. In the first game, I mean, yeah, it cuts, like, Tommy gets told the whole thing about Ellie, and he's kind of just like, I'll try to say something to Maria, and it just cut. It's kind of a hilarious cut in the game. It cuts to her. They're outside, and Maria immediately goes, absolutely not. No, like, I'm not sending you out there. It's such a hilarious just cut. Like, no, I'm like, I don't think he said that part. I think Tommy knew to be like, look, we have to take her somewhere. She's important. I don't think he maybe laid out the details of it, but I wouldn't put it past him to, I think Maria could be trusted with that secret as well. So
yeah, I just think it's funny that she said they should be terrified of you. I'm like, why?
Well, I think she knows Ellie. Like I said, Ellie's got that, like, ferocity to her.
Yeah, but
she is kind of a sleeping, like, she'll keep it down, but it's like Joel. It's like the same way where it's like you get him fired up and he will absolutely kill you, probably with no question. You know,
Well, I mean, she clearly from the sniper practice scene early in the film, she's got a good relationship going with Tommy.
Tommy. Yeah.
And the only other people we see her interacting with other than Joel are Dina and what's his name? Jesse. And she seems to have a friendly enough relationship with both them. Maybe a little more tense with Jesse because of the whole little love triangle thing, but that's totally understandable. The only other person that she's been in contact with, even the guy that she's fighting earlier, they were obviously practicing and whatnot, but the only one she seems to have any contention with right now is Joel, and that's not the kind of contention that we're worried about her killing him. That's just like father-daughter emotional tension. So I'm trying to figure out why Dina would say,
like I said, I think they should
be terrified of you. Why terrified? Intimidated is one thing, but terrified is something else.
Like I said, we haven't seen everything that's happened in the last 5 years.
True.
Built up to that point. Like I said, they've probably gone out before on other patrols or done other whatnots. And Dina's probably seen Ellie, take care of shit. I mean, she has that conversation with Tommy when Tommy says like, Ellie, last time you went off on your own. She's like, yeah, it was 2 infected and a clicker who didn't even have any teeth. I handled it. It's like, right. That's, but we know like, well, yeah, because you can't get infected, but still, it's impressive that she handled herself in that situation, which whatever it was, and came out on top. So it's like I think she knows she's got that like fighting spirit to her, but she knows like she's not just raging the whole time. Like she knows she's got that kind of balance. But when she's, like I said, it's coming, but when she's pushed to that fucking breaking point, they should be terrified of her. That's that thing that sets up she's gonna be on this track to go find Abby, akin to the same way Abby's trying to find Joel. So
yeah, and then after all that, the episode ends on. God, I wish I had a picture of it. It was such a great visual. But we end. It was this episode bookended, of course, by Abby, and we see Abby and her friend walking up and seeing the dam that powers Jackson, Wyoming, where they've been living for the last 5 years. So obviously she is no longer hot on the trail. She is essentially in his backyard. It's very, very early. I thought maybe this season would show a little bit of the journey of her trying to find Joel. And I'm sure it will in some kind of a flashback form. I thought it was something that would happen over the course of a few episodes, but she's already almost literally knocking on his front door. I have some questions. At the beginning of the episode, we introduced to Abby in this scene that you see right here, and there's like 5 other people with her or something like that. Now,
they are important.
Translating through the snow, we only see Abby and the guy, and nobody else is there that I saw.
There was a couple, I think. There was the one guy that looked at her, but like there was a couple of them trudging through the snow.
Oh, I must have missed the people coming behind him because I was like, if there's only 2 left, what has happened over the course of the last 5 years? Were they lost along the way or whatever?
I don't think there's a few, but maybe not the same ones because, like I said, now this is still 5 years later because that happened right at the end of the first game. This is now 5 years that she's been presumably on his trail, and like I said, they hooked up with that group in Seattle. So that's kind of the other part is that they've kind of spread out. Because like I said, some of these other characters we are going to see again that we saw from the beginning. But they're in other posts. Like I said, I forget her name. One of them, and I think Owen was even one of them, was at like the aquarium. They're in different posts for this group. So maybe not the same band of people, but there's a couple with her, but it's ultimately just going to be her and maybe 2 or 3 other people, maybe. Because this whole thing happens in front of, Joel, obviously, Ellie and Tommy, though. So you got to hold down these 3 people and get your practice in, your driving range, whatever the hell. So yeah, they're gonna come back.
Yeah. Tattoo Mama says Bella Ramsey is a good fit for young Ellie, but older Ellie is hard to believe when Bella still looks 15. I agree, but that's kind of one of the things. I mean, there's, not to mention
also
Abby in the game is jacked to the gills and not almost a stick figure. Well, we've already established that a 19-year-old girl who's 4 foot nothing can beat a grown man's ass, at least in this
I
universe.
said that because I'm like, that is the imposing thing in the game. That Ellie is still. She looks a little older, but I'm like, she is still a small framed girl, even in the game. And I'm like, yeah, and Abby is absolutely just like fucking built like a linebacker as well. So I'm like, that is the thing, is that's your next imposing force Ellie has to deal with, and it's not easy. I don't mind it so much because I'm like, yeah, I could see these two going at it because I'm like, they're probably pretty well. Again, now that Abby's had like this military group of the wolves take her in, and she's probably had more training. It's like, yeah, the two of them I think could hold their own in a fight.
So she's all Sarah Connored up.
It's not as gonna be as goofy as like you think. I'm like, I can believe that. So, and yeah, it is hard. Like I've said it so many times that the first time I saw Bella Ramsey, I'm like, yeah, she does play a young Ellie a lot better. But I was like, it is the way the character is portrayed from her, the attitude, the snarkiness, the foul mouth. I'm like, no, that's her. I don't really care that she looks that way. I'm like, you can do that with hair and makeup, change it a little bit, change her outfit, and yeah, obviously the time passage. With now she has the tattoo covering her infected arm. You can do it, but yeah, she unfortunately just has that really like baby face, and it's hard to get around that. I know.
Well, and on top of that, we're talking about series television, not a movie. If they would have made this into a 3-movie trilogy, I think you could have recast the character in the second or third movie to show her being a little bit older. But because you're in series television,
Skywalker,
yeah. But because you're
Hayden Christensen, what the hell happened? What?
Yeah,
damn, Jake Lloyd. Years were not kind.
The years were not kind. But yeah, it's series television though. I mean, Jesus Christ, the fucking Stranger Things kids are going to be 35 this year, and they're still going to be playing high school students.
Yeah,
so whatever.
Like, just
there's only so much de-aging you can do in Wolfhard, for Christ's sake. But
because he was like, yeah, 10.
Yeah, I think in series television you probably want to keep the cast as long as you can, especially considering that not only that it's not going to be that long of a wait for season 3, as I've read. That they already had a lot of writing for season 3 done, and they wanted to start shooting fairly quickly. So it's not going to be 2 or 3 years before we get season 3. It's going to be like 18 months, maybe. From when the last episode of this season airs, season 3 will be 18 months. Now, obviously, a lot of that depends on Pedro Pascal. He's getting to be a lot busier now. He's in Marvel and stuff, but
Well, and I was gonna say, like, we also just sat here and believed that we had the setup, the prologue part before the infection happened. That you have Joel then, and I'm like, right, and then you realize you do a 20-year time jump. We're not talking about 5 years. We're talking about we had a 20-year time jump to now Joel's older. I'm like, yeah, you grew out his hair. It's not the same little short haircut, and even now with this 5-year jump, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a little bit longer and slicked back more. And he's got like some gray streaks in his hair and his beard. I'm like, yeah, you can see it, and there's things you can do to make it believable that there's been some time passed. I think they did a good job with Joel in that respect. They made him look like he's been through it for that amount of time. So
yeah, she also says so far they're following the game to a T. There will be more Abby and her group traveling over the coming episodes because they are still a ways away. Yeah, but are they? I mean, off in the distance right there was the dam. I would imagine it's a day's hike. Or maybe a little more.
That's why I said
it depends on how long these episodes are going to be time-wise, I guess. I don't know, but she's like right there.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever hiked in the mountains like that in a valley, I'm like, yeah, you're like, yeah, it's right there. But I'm like, yeah, but that is still, that's a hell of a hike. Yeah, you could probably do it in a day. They probably, it's now that they've gotten to their objective. And like I said, there's a scene, they find like an old lodge, like cabin that's kind of right outside of Jackson. And I think they kind of take the day to like, okay, like now what do we do? We've been searching all this time trying to find this man. And now that we're here, now we're going to lay this plan out. Like, here's what we do. Which they may have talked about before. I mean, but now it's real. And now they have to like come up with something, and they're all right, let's take this day. And now that we have him in our sights, we don't have to sit here and wonder which way he went. We know where it's at, and we can have our foothold right here so that we know when we go in there, we can do what we need to do, or catch them as they're coming out, which I think is probably the smarter idea, because they know that's a big town. You're not just going to waltz into the gate and knock and be let in like that. So,
yeah, but let's see.
But I agree. It's following it to a T, and I love it.
Yeah. Tattooed Mama, they did it with House of Dragon. Some recasting. I'll take your word for it. I've never seen an episode of House of Dragon. Never
I haven't seen a single thing of Game of Thrones.
The
So
Game of
I'll
Thrones. I've seen some random scenes here and there because of the effects, but that's about it. The sword and shield stuff has never really done much for me, and it's one of the shows. Every now and again will come along a show that people won't fucking shut up about, and it gets to a point where I'm just like, before I watch the episode, I'm like, I'm checking out. I'm done. I'm not going to do it. I'm so tired of hearing about it already. I can't.
I'm not going to do it even harder.
Yeah, no doubt. He said, now I'm just going to watch reruns of 70s TV because I don't want to watch your newfangled bullshit. But she also
I like
says,
Sword and Shield stuff, but
they show the same scene in the game, and then you get to play as Abby traveling. Yeah, I mean you start the second game off as Abby from what Jay was telling me. So maybe one of these days I'll actually sit and play one of these games.
I think it was. I was having. I mean, if you probably know better than me, because again, I know. No one comfort me. I played the game once. Excuse me. And I played one. I don't want to talk about how many times I played one. I beat it on every difficulty. I played it multiple times on different difficulties. Played the shit out of the multiplayer. It's a lot of fun. But I played 2 once all the way through just to get, because it's my favorite game. So I was having trouble remembering if it was the scene where Dina comes to pick up Ellie to go on the patrol. I think that was first because open up with Ellie and then you get to do the here's how you move, here's how you vault. It's throw a snowball at Dina. Here's how you aim and fire. It's little things to get the tutorial going to play the game again. And then you play as Abby, which I think that's what they were setting up. Like they mentioned that's the next part is her going through the snow, getting closer to Jackson and ending up, which we've seen the scene in the trailer. It's I wouldn't want to be in that situation, regardless of who you are, where like I said, where she's like crawling on her stomach, like through the snow, and there's a fence about an inch above her head with a bunch of infected, like trying to grab at her. And that's a shitty situation that you don't want to be in. So she's trying to navigate that, and then, like I said, runs in, just accidents herself into the guy she's looking for. And she even, I think he even says like, "Oh yeah, I'm Tommy, I'm Joel," and she kind of goes like, "Oh crap, there," it's sunk in now. Like, "Oh shit, there he is," and she kind of, you see her try to keep that composure, like, "Oh fuck, okay, that was easy." That you just out in this whole snowy mountain, you happen to run into him. God, I can't talk today. You know what you could say.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I was definitely not stalling looking for that. I was like, oh, that was lucky. Just happened to be in the same snowy town I was in. Yeah.
I'm so glad I put those in there and gave Jeremy productive control.
Yep, because as I was saying it, I was like, oh, wait, there's the joke. It's right there. And I'm sitting there clicking, trying to find it. It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
But I think I'm already hooked. I mean, I was hooked in the show anyway, but I love kind of where they have inserted us into the world for this first episode. I think it's fantastic. I'm again, first episode, you're supposed to have a lot more questions than answers. I mean, it answers a few things. How are you going to introduce Abby? How are you going to do this? What is their relationship now? You answer those questions, but it just asks a bunch more that we're going to spend the next, well, I guess now 6 episodes kind of going over. But I do have a little bit of trivia about this particular episode. Some stuff that some of it's kind of big. Some of it's just stuff that's nice to know. Where's the picture of her on the workbench? I know I have it, damn it. There you go. Future Days is the name of this episode. It is also the name of the song that Joel sings to Ellie in the beginning of the second game. While the song did not exist in 2003, which is when the outbreak takes place in the series, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann felt that its inclusion was important and thematically appropriate to Joel and Ellie's character arcs.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
Now look at that. Another game mechanic. You find a workbench, you start working on your guns to make them better. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching, I forget who the hell it was. It was earlier today, and they had done a video. It was about 18 minutes long or so about the Easter egg, like the dog that was employee of the month on the wall. Did you catch that? Yeah, things like that. Just the use of the bottle, which is a big game mechanic.
I think, yeah. Can you go back to that picture? I want to see if it's still there because there was something I caught the second time I watched it. No, okay, no, wait, it wasn't that. It was when she was writing in her journal.
I couldn't find a picture of the journal. I was trying.
Okay, there, because I think there was something I noticed that on her desk, there's a picture to the left of her of a T-Rex, and it's like a little crown above it. And I was like, I don't know if it's a.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it's when they go celebrate her birthday in the museum, and she finds that dinosaur, and she just plops the hat on its head and thinks it's the funniest thing in the fucking world. I'm like, I don't know if that's foreshadowing, but that could just be me looking too much into it because I know that happens.
Yeah, I know New Rockstars did a breakdown of this episode, and there was a lot of, they really kind of took a hard look at her journal, what she was writing, stuff that was written off to the side that it didn't quite focus on, where you could make out a few words. So New Rockstars did a pretty interesting breakdown of this episode as well, if you guys want to go check that one out. But let's see, I guess I'll go to this one. While these stalkers did appear in the first season, this is the first time that they appear with the behavior associated with them from the games.
True. I mean, there's been some time now where they've evolved a little more over this 5 years. That's fair. Yeah, it's, zombies are one thing. I think in terms of any sort of apocalypses that we've seen on screen and otherwise, I think this would probably be one of the worst ones to fucking live through. I'm like, these kinds of infected, I'm like, damn, well, maybe not. I almost said Resident Evil. Like, no, Resident Evil has some bullshit in it. Like some supreme levels of bullshit.
Yeah, but it's fun bullshit though. I mean, it's already so outlandish and stupid that you just have fun with it, make it cool. That's one of the things I've always liked about the Resident Evil movies. It's like I can't take them seriously. If we try to take them seriously, you're not going to like them.
Yeah, it's not just zombies, but I'm like, I don't want to go toe to toe with like something like Nemesis or something like that. No, because God, this genetic bullshit is just off the rails. But this is something I wouldn't want to live in at all if this was the type of apocalypse we had. So I'm like, not only this kind of, with these clickers and shit, but having one that can essentially stalk you like that and kind of maneuver and try to outsmart you is that puts a wrench in the fucking works. It kind of, if anyone knows, it kind of reminded me of the hunters from Left 4 Dead. That special infected, the ones that kind of like sneak around and crawl and then just pounce on you. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Fantastic game, by the way. You should go play those.
Let's see. Craig Mazin actually submitted the script for this episode about 90 minutes before the writer's strike began.
Oh, no.
Under the wire.
Yikes. There you go.
I don't know where it would have been.
It's that scene. Did he have the dial too? The constructor meter?
The constructor meter. In a 90-minute.
I love that they know that. Tommy comes in. Hey, your wife wants me to build faster. Oh, did you tell her about the knob? Damn it, guys. Like, I'm sure that joke has been said many times, like between Tommy and Joel.
And let me tell you too, I really do like Maria's character. I think she's that one who's going to be loving but firm. She's going to be the combination of things that, like, all the good qualities of all these other characters. She's going to be the one person that might have enough of all of those qualities to kind of keep things where they need to be, while other important characters may want to take things to one extreme or another and kind of throw the balance of the situation off. You know what I mean? I really like her.
Kind of be the Rock, yeah.
Someone who can be objective yet caring at the same time. Because I love it when he's walking out after their conversation and she says, "You were a refugee too," and I get that. I mean, I know my personal point of view if I were in Joel's situation, but I like the fact that he kind of understands that there is a certain irony in it, but at the same time, he's a realist. It's like, when I got here,
he's like, if the lifeboat's sinking, you leave them out there.
He's like, I got here, there was 150 people. Now there's 5,000, and there's not as much as a pie to go around. But
I know he's like, it's like, if I wish I could let them all in, but it's like you can't really do that. To be fair, that is a great line when right before he walks out and she says, "Joel, remember you guys were refugees too." I'm like, wait, but he was also family, so that's true. Not really fair. I was like, true, but he's also your brother-in-law, so a little bit different. It's not just someone that you brought in from different settlements. It's a little different.
Yeah,
but I get what she meant.
Heather was talking in the chat earlier about Caitlin Deaver. I picked the wrong picture, my bad. Caitlin Deaver actually became the front runner after the writer's strike ended in November of 2023, following the response to her performance in No One Will Save You, which came out in that year. She previously had appeared on Naughty Dog's Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which came out in 2016, and was actually considered to play the role of Ellie in the abandoned film adaptation of The Last of Us around that time. So she very
There
easily
you go.
could have been Ellie had things played out differently.
And I wouldn't doubt that she could have done it well. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I mean, I like how things worked out. I'm still not mad about it. It's excuse me. It's kind of funny. It's when you see people that like pretty famously in Walking Dead, John Bernthal, I think, auditioned for Rick. You know, of all people, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, then he became Shane, so still it worked out. You know, whatever.
Betty
They
White.
like Norman
Betty
Reedus so
White
much, and
could be the Blanche character in Golden Girls.
well, and it worked out. So
Well, it worked out great because she ended up Rose, and then the series became great.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of weird things like that happen. Hell, Loki, Tom Hiddleston actually tried out for Thor, and they were
Right.
like, "Well, this other guy, but he's like, we kind of got a role that I think will work for you," and then it ended up working out great that way. So,
like I was starting to say, like Norman Reedus tried out for Merle, who's a brand new character, but they liked him so much, he said, "Screw it, you guys are gonna be brothers. I'll just add you in." You know,
yeah.
same thing.
Let's see. One more little piece of trivia. The therapy sequence was actually filmed over one day, which Catherine O'Hara found, quote, intense. Well, yeah, we watched it.
I bet. I know. I think we saw it come through.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
The intensity was no joke, for sure.
But again, it speaks to their acting ability because we were just like all kind of holding our breath, just watching them go chew through this scene, man. Like, it's like, man, to work under that. I mean, sure, one day. I mean, that's some pressure to, do a good job putting this scene out there. But you guys fucking knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, that's all for the trivia. But real quick, before I forget to say it, I really do love the Dina character in this. I
love her so much.
And again, not a whole lot for her in this episode. It just introduces you, but I really feel like her character is going to carry a lot more weight than what I thought she would initially. Like I knew she was
like she's eating for two.
yeah, literally. I mean, I knew that she was going to be more than the damsel in distress or the Mary Sue against the hero character that is Ellie. I knew she would be more than that, but I feel like she's, especially after this conversation that she has with Joel over fixing the circuit breakers, I feel like she's going to be the bridge that kind of keeps them together long enough for them to finally find their way back to one another before tea time. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So I feel like her character is going to be way more important than what she. Well, I mean, again, she obviously is in the game, but I'm just saying this as a casual fan who did not play the second game and sporadically played the first one. That I feel like her character is going to carry a lot more weight as we move forward than she may initially kind of look like. You know what I mean? But that's just my assumption. Again, I know she's important in the game, but remember something. This is not, much like the MCU, this is not a direct adaptation of the source material.
No.
They are putting together kind of a new thing. So while it's like 85 or 90% accurate to the game, this is its own story. They're not going to go shot for shot remake of the game. So there's going to be some things that are different. Obviously, they went through the episode 3 of the last season, really focuses on Frank and Bill, whereas Bill is the only one that's actually in the game, and that story is discussed but not really examined. They
Frank's
examined
there, but he's hanging from his neck. You see him, but afterwards.
But so again, it's the source material is a guideline rather than a guidebook rather than the actual script. It's not very often you're going to be able to turn this. It's not a one-for-one thing when you're going from one medium to another, especially video games. I mean, we've seen so many video game adaptations that had promise that could have been great live action, and they fell flat. I mean, I still have not seen Minecraft, but I have not, ever wanted to.
I did. It was entertaining, but I know it's for kids, but I'm like, yeah, but you have to appeal to someone like me who did play it when it first came out, and I was not a young man, but I was a younger man. I'm just saying, gamers are a pretty big age range, so I'm like, I know it's for kids, but I was still entertained by it, but that's because I don't think these kids know who Stifler's mom is, but I'm like, come on, it's Jennifer Coolidge. How can you? I don't even care what she's doing in this fucking. I don't care that she's dating a Minecraft villager, and it's like no one asks questions. I'm like, no, don't. Who cares? It's just funny. It's the best part of the movie.
It's also super nichey. It's like, yeah, the game's got a big following, but past that, it's not got like it's not drawing in casual fans the way that like Last of Us is drawing in casual fans.
Yeah, well, and
it's like fair, I know of Minecraft. Yeah, they should have made it a movie that not they should. I mean, whatever, make it whatever you're gonna make it. But it's like if you want to attract to a casual person like me who has heard of Minecraft and played it like twice and didn't like it. If you at least want to attract me to your movie, it's got to be something more than it can't be so nichey. But whatever. I mean,
that's what it's just called.
It's made a ton of money. It's made a ton of money. So
yes, because when you have to take 2 or 3 of your kids and your friends' kids and their friends' kids, like I understand. I don't know. I found it entertaining, but like I said, if you're looking to be like, oh, what is this? And it's like I don't know. Me who has played the game a little more in depth, I'm like, I just kind of want to play the actual game. I was like, no, it was funny, but I'd rather just play the actual game. But I don't know if you're going to have that connection, that connection to someone like you. I'm sure you're going to watch that and not be like, oh, I really want to play Minecraft now. Like, no, it's not going to do that for you. I'm sorry.
But it's made a ton of money, so what do I know?
Yeah, whatever.
What do I know? But I don't know, Jeremy. Any other random thoughts about this episode you want to touch on before we call it a night?
Oh, that's a cool shot. Again, right out of the game. Love that. No, I like I said, I'm glad I made that kind of safe assumption that it was gonna be like we're finding where everyone's at now 5 years later. Kelly in the groundwork and leaving, like you said, there's some questions that need answered. Like it's like you kind of know, but it's like, yeah, why is Ellie so supremely pissed at Joel? It's like, well, you haven't seen yet why. I'm like, that is current time, and then we're going to see what leads up to that, and then we might see something happen, and then that's how it happens in the game. Is you see this tragic event happen, and you realize leading up to that, that like they had, they come together and try to have this, let's move forward and work through it and try to forgive each other for this shit. And now she'll never get the chance, so it just kind of breaks your heart. I think it was a good safe bet that I'm like, no, I think we're gonna end with Abby like just it's either gonna have her like running right into Joel, or it's like, okay, we're getting to that and now that's gonna be next. So I'm excited to see what comes next. I think that might be the bit that we were talking about, because the next part in the game you do play as Abby, so we might get a little more of her, which I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I am starting to worry about my prediction about tea time happening in episode 5. It's when I saw her.
I said like 2 or 3. I was like, no, I think it's gonna be early.
when I saw her at the dam already, I was like, God, she's right there. This may not last.
I'm still taking over under. I'm taking low. I'm like, no, I think it's gonna happen really quick. Unfortunately,
I'm going to stick to my prediction because I think it'd be smarter to do it like that. But damn, I don't know. She's like right there. Now, there's probably going to be an episode where they it may be even the next episode where they follow Abby's journey from meeting with Isaac and then finding eventually Joel in Jackson, and then we'll get into the wolves. So it may take an episode or 2 for that to flesh out. But I mean, she's like right there. And then, whatever. The confrontation has to happen. And then, so I'm still holding on to episode 5. I'm holding it right there. But yeah, I
picking the under
maybe. But I was thoroughly impressed with this episode. I thought it was fantastic. It's every bit as good as anything we got from season 1, and season 1 was great. So great, in fact, that even American Werewolf in New Jersey, who watched the first couple episodes with us and reviewed them with us last year, who tapped out because he didn't think there was enough action to show, even he's gone back to it now. So he said,
I saw you say something, and I was like, I didn't know what the context was or who you said it to, and I opened up the post and I was like, "Oh, really? That's interesting." So, I mean,
maybe cool. he has had a change of heart. Maybe he'll go through season 1. He will see where things went and be a little impressed by it. Then he'll catch up on season 2, and then maybe he'll pop on with one of these for us. If not, you should go check out his channel anyway. He's in the description down below with all these other really cool creators. Go look for American Werewolf in New Jersey.
There's always more context to be had if you really. It's out there. The truth is out there.
Even if you just go to YouTube and find somebody doing a playthrough, just go watch that. Oh, yeah. Give me something to compare.
Yeah, like if I wasn't so damn lazy, I would have done that by now. But it's right here on my desk. You can see it.
But he's a bad content creator. He's a terrible content creator. He reminds us all the time.
And there's my one per episode. I just said it again.
I did it for you. Let's see. Yeah, he said. Heather says they showed it at the trailer for What's to Come, the scene where Ellie and Joel at the museum will be in the season. I wonder if it's going to be a flashback, maybe.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's what the game does. It does the he ends up dying, of course, and then you see flashbacks of things that they've done again to fill in that 5-year time gap of like when they go to the museum for her birthday, they go to the space capsule. And obviously the confrontation where she just looks at him, she's like, "You swore to me." It's like, yeah. I think even that's part of that. They're going on that hike, like where he's trying to get her attention. He's like, "Hey, you good?" And she kind of just like, "Yep," just still trying to put on the happy face and just keep going. So.
But let's see. BJ says, "What's going on, BJ? Good to see you here." Just was not used to Jason being funny.
Oh, we're talking about Jason Momoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? Look, the last Fast and Furious movie. He's the only thing that makes that movie watchable. He is hilarious in that movie. When he's sitting there talking to the two dead bodies, like they're just like he's just hanging out with them or whatever. Then he's just. Oh.
I mean, he's got comedic chops. He's not just Aquaman. Like, he can do it.
But even as Aquaman, he was funny. He had a little bit of humor.
He does have some quips. And come on, freaking Boba Fett / Jango Fett is his fucking dad. How badass is that?
Oh yeah,
Tamara Morrison as your dad. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, she says she's not seen that one. Well, see if you can find a cut on YouTube of just Jason Momoa's scenes from that movie. That's pretty much the watchable part.
Not seen.
The rest of the Fast and Furious, it's not worth watching.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh God!
Just no one.
I think it was the last one. I don't even.
It was
There's
the
like
last
10
one.
of those fucking movies.
And what's funny is I don't think they're interested in making any more. But they kind of left you with that big cliffhanger where he drives off the dam, him and his son, to try to get away, and
whatever.
I don't know. He's going to be 120 years old. He's still going to be like family. It's
Until he's 90.
Let this thing die. Let's let it go. It should have died with Paul Walker. It should have died with Paul Walker.
Fast and Furious 20. They're all going to be like rolling around in fucking power scooters and fucking wheelchairs and shit. That's what
it's like, dude. It's like I would rather see another XXX movie than to see another fucking Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, I'd rather see another Riddick movie or something. Jesus,
man. I've not been a big fan of the Riddick movies, but I'd rather see him do one of those. It's like go into one of these other franchises and be that character. Why does everything have to be Dom Toretto?
Make another pacifier. I don't care. Just
for Christ's sake. That's at least that movie was funny. I mean that movie was good. So it's like go do that. Stop fucking driving around like an asshole and being like family and being such a prototypical knucklehead in the action movie because he's not a bad actor. Vin Diesel's not a bad actor.
No, but man, do something else with your life, man.
You ever see Find Me Guilty?
No, I have not.
That was the movie that came out, one of his first movies, and that was the one that people looked at and were like, "Holy shit, he can actually act! He's not just some lunkhead; he can actually act." And then he gets wrapped up in like the actiony stuff, and then Fast and Furious, and that becomes this whole like what he's about.
I thought Saving Private Ryan was one of his first movies because
Saving Private Ryan was one of his first movies. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I'd have to look it up, but I remember Spielberg either seen him in doing a play or had seen him in one of his really early movies and said, "I really like the look of that guy. I'm going to put him in, give him a small role in Saving Private Ryan." And he's good in that movie too.
Oh yeah, I was like, he's good in that.
Stop, just stop.
Like I said, put it this way: I only saw the first 3 movies. I can do 1 and 2 in Tokyo Drift, but I was just like, I'm tapped out. I can't. No. That's what I'll accept as being Fast and Furious canon. Now, you get up to what, like, what was the one before he died? Like 7 or something, 6 or 7.
I forget.
Paul Walker. I'm like, I could maybe accept. I could try to watch it up to that point, maybe, because I'm like, yeah, okay, I know. Then real life events happened and he passed away. I'm like, and it ended. I mean, you did end it. I know the meme. They're driving down the road side by side, then they split off and he goes down through the little exit ramp and he goes his own way. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can accept that, but I don't know. And they're like, yeah, just kidding. We're going to make 4 or 5 more of these. We're going to go to space. Like, jeez, you think I'm kidding? Put a fucking car in space.
He was in New Jack City in an uncredited role. I did not know this.
Oh,
That's
Really
back
got
in
this-
'91. His first official. Well, he was
Yeah.
his first credited thing came in a music video in '92, and then he did Multifacial in 1995. Then Strays, and Saving Private Ryan, then Iron Giant, Boiler Room. Knockaround Guys is a good movie too. Triple X. Find Me Guilty didn't actually come out till 2006, but I thought it was something he had shot really early.
Okay, because I was
And
thinking
that
like
was
Saving Private
after-
Ryan, like, it's-
Yeah, and that was after the first
Oh,
Fast and the Furious, after Pitch Black, after Chronicles of Riddick, after Triple X, after Man
when was
Apart.
Pacifier, like 2004 or something?
Pacifier was 2005.
5. Okay, I still got it. A year over or under, I still got it.
But yeah, bottom line is, good.
Okay.
Dude, the Triple X movies were supposed to be like the American version of fucking James Bond or whatever, and
Yeah, the Xander Cage.
it was fun. Let's see. In production, Riddick Furia. So there's another Riddick. Fast
See,
X
I told
Part
you.
2.
More Riddick.
Whatever. Another Triple X movie, which I don't think is ever going to come to fruition. Something called Muscle, which is in pre-production, so that might actually get made. It doesn't say what it's about. But yeah,
What was that one he did where it was like it was based off a comic book? Was it not Bloodsport or something?
Isn't Chronicles of Riddick based on a comic book?
No. Yeah, but no, this was something else. That came out a couple years ago. It was also a comic book thing where he oh hell, what was it called? It's gonna bug me. I also can't spell Vin Diesel's name. Maybe they just keep him around for the fact that his name is Vin Diesel. It's like Diesel cars, family, whatever. I mean, why wouldn't you? IMDb, there we go. Bloodshot. I was right. Yeah.
Oh,
2020.
okay. I understand about. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was also based off a comic. That wasn't bad. That was interesting because I was also like, cool. It's something not Fast and Furious related. Like, dude, like we said, you can act, man. I know you can. You got to do better, Senator. You got to do better. You got to do better, Diesel. God damn it. Need a cap shield.
Oh, okay. So it was actually multifacial. Let's see. So this movie Multifacial, 1995 short drama film, written, directed, produced, and scored by Vin Diesel. He also stars as a multiracial actor facing various professional and emotional issues. The film is notable for essentially launching Diesel's career, as it was noticed by Steven Spielberg, who then watched Diesel's film Strays, which prompted him to give Diesel his first big break by writing a small role specifically for him in Saving Private Ryan.
Nice. Well, I wish Spielberg would just notice me and just give me a small role in something. Jesus. Put me in the next Ready Player One. I don't care. I'll do it.
Yeah, we a background player. It'll be fun.
Please. I would love to.
Let me drive Kit. Just put me driving Kit. That's all I want. That'd be dope. I
Well,
could do that.
So to speak, he did take that out and he put it in the DeLorean. So I don't know if Kit's actually around, but the computer system for Kit is inside that DeLorean. So that's pretty dope, to be fair.
God, time travel would be fucking crazy if Kit was just hopping around from time to time.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the crossover we need. That's the crossover we need. Two dope ass cars. Get the DeLorean. Bring it on. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. It's got time travel. It's got Kit's computer, and it has I can't remember what the hell it's from. It's in the book. There's a thing that's right in front of the flux capacitor, which lets it phase through solid material. So it can time travel. It actually can travel in space. And like I said, it has Kit's computer, and it can fucking just phase through solid matter. That car is no joke. I love what Parsifal did for that thing. I want one now, please. Can I just have one?
Yeah, Heather says you could be the guy in the chair for Vin Diesel. I'll be the guy in the chair. I can't type for shit, but I mean, whatever.
Sure. Is that the we figure out who's gonna play me in the movie? Is it gonna be Vin Diesel? We need to find somebody for you.
Denzel, obviously.
Oh, okay,
a character of my caliber can only be played by Denzel.
And of obvious modesty too.
Or Meryl Streep. One of the two. The street monster can handle my character, I'm pretty sure. But let's go ahead and wrap this
liberties, I think.
Whatever. Just remember, turn off your brain and stuff your face full of popcorn. She will totally play a good Frank, I promise. But it's Meryl Streep. Come on. She can do anything she wants. But let's go ahead and start to wrap this up there. Again, a pretty solid first episode. Jeremy, give me your final thoughts on episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us.
Yeah, good way to start. I'm excited. Like I said, there's enough there that, again, if you, like I said, this, like we're talking about with Minecraft, I'm like, I don't know if that's going to make you want to go play the game. I hope this is what this does for people, because, I mean, it did. Season 1 did a massive uptick in like game sales for the first game, and probably even the second game. Got people into it. So if it does that for you, I envy you, because if you've never played it, I wish I could play it again for the first time, because it was amazing. And yeah, this is on a good track for staying, I mean, well enough to part 2. And oh my good God, like I said, even though I've seen it, even I've played it, lived it, but man, seeing it on screen and being brought to life by these incredible actors, I'm still, just sitting there. It's like totally just engulfed in the whole fucking in the show. So I'm excited for the next 6 episodes, and Sunday can't get here fast enough.
Yeah, it's a great start. It was a great introduction to Abby. It was a great introduction as to where Joel and Ellie are in their relationships. It was a great start to Ellie's relationship with Dina. It did the exact job it needed to do. It dropped us into this world exactly when it needed to. Look, 5 years later, fine, don't care. I'm ready for the story. This was a great primer for everything that is coming. Especially the introduction to Abby. I thought that was a great way to start it. I thought it was a great way to end the episode as well, kind of letting her bookend it all. It makes it clear that she's the threat. She is a significant threat to Joel in every way. And Ellie. I mean, I assume that if she has to go through Ellie to get to Joel, she will, or she would. But yeah, I thought it was a great first episode of the season. I have no complaints about it at all. I am a little annoyed that, the character of Ellie being such a twat, being such an insufferable.
There is a reason, though.
But I know. But like I said, me not having the knowledge you have of the game, I'm watching it as the casual fan who's just watching this as a TV show, where you're the one that's already like, I already know what happens over here.
Well, but it should give you that, like, Jesus, these two, like, were that close, and now all of a sudden, like, man, they're just at each other's throats. You're like, why? The hell? Yeah. Like, what happened?
Well, here's an interesting question for you real quick. Already having been immersed in the games, knowing all about them as you do, because we're both watching this from different perspectives. I'm watching this just as somebody who's watching this TV show. You're watching as someone who's very aware and very, much more steeped in the source material. Has this been a win
I didn't wear
for
the
you?
Shirt and I wore a flannel today for it. Yeah.
Has this show been what you've wanted it to be? Because obviously there's some things that depart from the game, but has it been a good telling of the story?
Absolutely. Like I said, I didn't mind, like in season 1, I didn't mind the whole extra storyline about Frank and Bill. I thought that was absolutely wonderful. I'm like, that wasn't explored in the game, so I was like, I'm glad they did that in this, and it still told the story and the overall story of Joel and Ellie. But getting into these other people that were a part of their life was cool to see. So I'm okay with them adding stuff to it. But like I said, we're going to keep this main storyline going, because that, like we've said, that is the important part, is the story that we're telling. And I think, like I said, Craig Mazin's not missing. So I'm excited. It's cool to see it, because I always want, it's a rough time out here when you play video games and you're like, I think that'd be a cool movie, and you're like, 1993 Super Mario, 1995's Mortal Kombat, okay, a little better. Street Fighter, damn it, Doom, okay, we're going the wrong way, guys. So it sucks to see something that doesn't translate, or maybe just wasn't handled the right way. There's a whole multitude of things in the entertainment industry, but when it's doing it right, I enjoy seeing it, and I love having this much more media of this franchise that I love come to fruition. Same with Fallout. Fallout's my other favorite game series, and that's been hitting the right way too. It's its own thing within that world, but still, I'm enjoying the hell out of that. Can't wait for that too. Wait for season 2.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be fun. I don't know when
Oh
that's
my
coming
god,
out.
yeah.
I've been so wrapped up with everything else, I haven't even really been paying attention to when that second season might come out. But
I
I'm
think
sure it'll
they're
come.
filming, or they were filming recently, so they might still be. So it could maybe be pushed out by the end of this year. That'd be kind of cool.
We can hope.
Maybe around October, because October is an important month in the Fallout lore. If you know, you know. It's when everything, popped off. So.
Yeah, another thing I noticed about in this episode specifically, where it pertains to Joel, Craig Mazin. I've talked about it before. He did the Chernobyl series for HBO several years ago, which is, I think, one of the best, maybe the best limited series ever made. As I recall, the first and last line of that show is, "What are the cost of lies?" And that's kind of the theme that's happening right now. Is like Joel lied to Ellie, and you understand him. You may not agree, but you understand. And what is this lie costing Joel? What is it going to cost him eventually? Because obviously she's going to find out at some point this season what really happened that day. And that's a theme that's with this show as well. He actually, what did he say? I was watching the after podcast, the short podcast that comes on after the show, and that was one of the things that he was talking about was, examining the fallout of everything that happened last year. It's not he talks a lot about like point of view and perspective and things like that. From Ellie's perspective, he's the one who saved her life. So even though she's acting like a twat right now, she does love him. But from what's her name's perspective, bad girl. Why am I drawing a blank on her name?
Abby.
Yeah. From Abby's perspective, he's the villain.
Yeah.
And
so makes it cool.
So perspective and point of view really does come into play in this season, like it didn't really come into the first season.
Well, I think it was on the thumbnail, right? At the bottom it said like everything has a price or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Is like all your actions have consequences. That's what this is. I'm like, this isn't just a what makes it compelling is that it's not just a one dimension thing. Like, this is your hero, this is your villain, that's just it, that's how it is. And it's like, no, you can understand what Abby's going through and why she's doing what she's doing. You can understand Joel, why he did what he did, for Ellie. And when it comes into context, I'm like, you'll understand why Ellie's being such a dick to him. It's like, you can all understand like these human reactions to shit, and if you were in their shoes, you could be like, yeah, well, that's fair. It's what makes it compelling.
Yeah, but it's a solid first installment to the second season. I can't get mad at it at all. I'm really interested to see where this thing goes. It's parts of it are moving a little bit faster than I thought they would. The one other thing that I thought I didn't really care one way or the other, I just noticed it, was I really thought that the development of the relationship between Ellie and Dina was going to be a little bit longer. That it might take a couple episodes.
Have time, trust me.
Well, yeah, but it was handled a lot better, but it was as jarringly fast as like Padme and Anakin. It's like one minute she's brushing them off, the next minute she's
a little more chemistry between Ellie and Dina than
certainly.
Yeah.
It was done a lot better, but it did still seem a little abrupt. I really kind of wanted that to kind of play out over the course of an episode or two. But the fact that it happened like right now, I'm like, okay, because I understand that where the dance scene is in the second game is really early in the second game.
It is. Right? I was gonna say we'll have more time with Dina and Ellie. So
if we're trying to stick to kind of the timeline, the feel that you get from the game, I understand. Like I said, it didn't bother me for anything, but I really would have liked to have seen that grow a little more, because that's part of the fun of watching a relationship come together, is like that little bit of back and forth, like that scene where she's trying to help her get her gear on, and she's obviously trying not to react. Like
when she said, "Don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't."
Yeah, exactly. So like a teenage girl would write in her diary, something like that. But yeah, it was a great episode to start with. I'm really intrigued what's going to happen next. This series is still hitting on all cylinders as far as I'm concerned. So and I'm interested to see where it all happens. It's going to be a pretty cool run. We got 6 more episodes of this fun, and for good measure, the last episode of Daredevil Born Again actually drops tonight. I'm not going to watch it tonight. I'll probably wait till tomorrow. But yeah, I'm really excited to see that as well, because I think that's also been a very good, not quite as cool as the Netflix stuff, but it fits to the MCU very well, and I really like what they've done with Charlie Cox's character, and I still have a lot of questions about that. But yeah, so it's and to top it off, I think Andor season 2 comes out soon. There's plenty of good
like that.
streaming services that are putting out some big properties right now. So we're all feeling kind of spoiled if we're into those things. But thanks to my co-host Jeremy for coming to hang out with me as always. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm here Tuesday and Thursdays, and apparently sometimes Saturdays when we talk about Last of Us.
On special occasions.
Yeah. Sometimes we like to spoil you. You're welcome.
When the wife's out of town and she'll let him come out and play. That's kind of what it was.
Yeah, okay.
She lets me have Jeremy for a couple hours here and there. But
like a shared custody or something?
Yeah, no, it's not shared. She allows me to borrow you as a friend. You really belong to her. We all know it. But you will see me back here on Thursday. I forget what the hell movie we're doing on Thursday, but we'll be back here on Thursday. But again, every Tuesday for probably the next month and a half or so, we're going to be doing the Last of Us episode reviews. Come back and check us out. We will see you guys on Thursday for our movie review. I think we're going to be doing The Accountant. I'm not 100% sure.
Was it The Accountant? I think so.
It's either The Accountant or something else, but The Accountant is coming up. So, and then Sinners is coming out, and then so we're gonna be around still. Tuesdays is gonna be Last of Us Tuesdays. Thursdays are gonna be movie reviews. We'll see you back here with the whole crew on Thursday. Till then, adios. I'm excited. I mean, there's a lot coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of story here. Like I said, it's gonna get intense. There's gonna be some twists and turns, some surprises, some new locations. Like 5. I said, no, I'm still going low. I think 2 or 3.
Maybe they're gonna drag it out. They're gonna drag it out a little bit. It's gonna be funner.
Come on, we still gotta see the beauty of Seattle. Underwater basically, because that's a wet town, and when you don't have people to maintenance that.
True.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool place to check out.
Goodbye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.